There's no certain setup for it. It's just like when I start laying it out, we lay out as many tracks as we can get on the table, you know, loops. None of the tracks are actually hooked together. It's all different train layouts to see how many we can get set up on there, because my goal one time used to be to get everything on the table and then put everything up and get it running, but my son just kind of like said, no, we're not going to do that no more. So we stopped putting everything on, which I have pretty close to 300 engines, and I can't run them all at one time. So that's when we put a lot of them on the shelf and retired a lot of them now. My trains here, they run for hours a day. And if you can get a toy that can last for hours like that, which the stuff today is made to last that way, with the computer boards and chips in them, is a lot better today than it was years ago. So that's why I feel that to upgrade stuff today and have the newer stuff is better. I'm not saying it's better for the kids, but they do make good sets for the kids, but the stuff for the adults is really, really highly sophisticated stuff that can continue on and try to figure it out. I mean, it's not a little kid's toy anymore, but it's well worth the stuff that they have today to invest in it. It's like owning a car, you know. I mean, some people own Corvettes, some own Mercedes. There's different scales and different classes of trains for kids too. But I wouldn't recommend a $1,300 engine for no little boy to play with neither. But there is some out there at that price, and then they have some cheaper ones at $200 for a set. I mean, it's a nice set for the little kids to play with too. I would say that you'd have to invest in not a really expensive set, but a real good set though. I mean, something that's, you know, not all plastic and runs on battery. You want electric set is what you want, electric. It doesn't necessarily have to be Lionel. It could be a good train. There's 3 or 4 different companies out there to make trains, but invest in a nice train set. Get yourself set a nice 2 pieces of 4x8 sheets of plywood and put a couple milk crates up and set them on that. Cover it up and then go from there. Basically, you learn the hard way. You do it and then you have some mistakes. You burn up a few things, burn up some wire, but you'll figure it out sooner or later that you don't want to do that no more. My dad, when he did his displays, he used to have like a screened-in porch, what it was, and he used to put them up in there on, like I said, it was about probably about a 8x20 maybe, and you couldn't get close to them. You had to look through the window of the house to see them. But there was people that would come and see him through his window. To get closer to the trains, you almost got to be able to smell the smoke and hear the whistles blow, hear the rumble of the tracks in there. So that's where you had to get them in to really feel more of the trains. So that's why I kind of like opened the house up and opened up their hearts to the people out there to let them see what they could, you know, really get in to see. The people, when they come in, it's, I don't know, they want to melt or something. It's just like all the ahs and the oohs that they say. It just, that makes me happy too, to see that, because I know my work was well worth it then. Let's make one person come down that stairs, got a smile on her face. I'm really happy to see that. It was almost about 27 years ago, me and my wife, we were setting it up, and we decided to let the people see it then, because there's no sense in me having so much stuff that I can see it, everybody in the family can see it. When it's all done, you sit back and you look at it and you say, well, okay, it's done, you know, now why not let somebody else see it? So we kind of like let the public see it for a while. You know, we did it very few days. We were doing it towards the end, but we were doing it almost every day of the week when we first started, but then we kept slowing down. It was getting to where it was only like 5 days a week, then certain hours a day. So we kind of like narrowed it down. But it was getting to the end where I was running 23 trains. I was up as high as about 32 at one time, and we kept cutting back and back. But when we first started, I don't think we were doing probably 500-600 a year. Now it's that this last year, I think we did about 5,000-6,000 the last year. So it's kind of grown over the years. You can see it with the people, the size of the table, the larger it gets. But it seems like when you get to the end of it, the showing season, it's pretty much running real well then. Like this year, we had a real good turnout at the end. And you can almost set it on a control now where it goes by itself and you don't even have to watch it no more. But you're talking about 8 to 9 weeks to set this whole table up here. I think it's open for like probably about 4 to 6 weeks, usually right until, from Thanksgiving till New Year's Day. We usually run it up till that day. But I had a few other people want to still come and see it, so we're a little bit late this year getting done with it. And to take it down, we can probably do it in about a week, pack it all in the original boxes and put it all away and then put it back on the shelf. I think I've had enough of it now. I mean, this year was a tough one to get through, and I could see it's getting harder and harder. And then to see the people that's coming, I can't even think of having a better year than this, because if I went through more people than that through the house, it would be pretty tough on the house. Well, I had a few people that come in that wanted to buy it because they didn't want me to do this for free, but I kind of like, that was my way of saying Merry Christmas to a lot of people, and to try to make people happy around the holiday. This is more than one way that you could do it. It's hard to set a price on stuff that I make myself. You know, to sit down and paint all these little people, and there's thousands of little people that have to be painted with toothpicks. And to do all that, it's hard to say, you know, what kind of price you put on things. Well, that's it. I kind of said that this was going to be the last stop, and this would be it for it. So, kind of like going to have to stick to it. I hope someday that it'll end up in a museum. I'd like to set it up one more time for a good showpiece somewhere. And maybe that the rest of the people can see it then. Because not everybody got to see it this year, I'm sure of that. But there's a lot of them out there that still want to come and see it, and I have to keep telling them no yet. So maybe that if I get it set up in a museum or somewhere where it's open to the public again, that the rest of the people can see it. Well, when my son did it this year, I thought it was kind of nice that he really stuck with me until the end on this one, and he did a lot of unique sceneries this time that I had no ideas what he was even doing when he did them. But they come out very, very well. Now, if you see the difference in his elevations, that is quite impressive to see trains going up higher and more levels like that. So he has a different style and tables than I do, so he'll have a real nice one when he gets done. My son, he helps me out quite a bit with it now, so I think that he's got the knack to do it, so he's pretty much on his own now with it, so he's going to create his own, and we'll see what we can come up with in the future with him. But a lot of it, my son will continue on with his own display, and he's working on his own display now for himself, which will be more updated with the command control stuff and remote controls. More stuff that he can experience with the computer stuff with. And he don't want the older stuff. He's not into he calls it the old school all the time, but he kind of don't like the old stuff. It's more collector stuff as the old stuff is for the people that collect it. It's not to run like the newer stuff is. Yeah, even after I give up this, I'll probably do a lot of the repairs for my son. Unless they get too hard with the computer boards, I don't know that much about those things yet, so. But we're learning. I guess I'll have to learn that just like the rest of the stuff.